So on my channel, I review workout and gym shoes and then activewear for guys. And with activewear, a big focus point for me is with training shorts because I'm constantly trying new shorts and finding what works best for my anatomy and style of training. So at the moment, I have 3 shorts that I keep heavily in my rotation, and that includes number 1, the Lululemon Pace Breaker, the new version. The second one is the Built Active short, and then I also have the Interval short, which has been a staple of mine for quite some time. So I want to do a 2024 update review of the Interval short and talk about some pros, cons, and performance and sizing in the short before you buy it, if I think they're worth it. But that said, 3 pros that I have with the Interval short that I have learned over the last few years of wearing this short is number 1, they really are decent for everything. And I think if you are a guy who wants a short for a little bit of everything, so you like to lift, you like to do plyometrics and athletic focus workouts, you like to do short runs, and you also want a short that looks okay for daily wear, that's where I think the Interval short can excel. They have enough stretch to accommodate heavy lifting, and they tend to be pretty durable with their outer shell for abrasion resistance and whatnot when it comes to CrossFit WODs and workouts where you might have any form of rub on your short. The second reason why I like this short is if you go with the liner version, they feel very seamless. So to be quite honest with you, I don't love training in the linerless Interval short. I find them to be a little bit too loose regarding their shell weight, and I personally don't love having a separate compression liner with an outer shell that might not always work with one another. So I think if you do get the Interval short, going with the liner option is just, I think, far superior than going with the linerless option. I wear my linerless Interval shorts for casual wear, but I do not train in them. But the reason why I mention this is that they feel very seamless with their compression liner and how they fit. So if you are somebody that likes that kind of medium compression with their liner, these shorts can be awesome. This liner doesn't feel super overbearing over time, and if you have meatier quads, it does stretch and give a little bit, but it doesn't also feel super restrictive like some shorts can that are designed for, let's say, skinnier legs or smaller legs at that. So if you go with the Interval short and you go with the lined option, I like the seamless fit of them. That's my second pro. My third pro with this model is I like the pocket system. So the short has 2 deeper pockets on the left and right side, and then you also have a zip pocket here on the right side. Now, the zip pocket can have some durability issues, and I'll talk about that in my cons section, but for the most part, this shorts pocket system has worked really well for my needs. I like that it's deep enough to where I can put my phone and wallet or keys in it if I'm going out on a casual basis, and I like that the zipper pocket is big enough to put a phone or AirPods case in there if you plan to go running and bring those with you. So do note with the bigger phones that we have in this day and age, you do have to kind of finesse it to get in there, and that also can lead to some durability issues, which I'll talk about soon, but I think for the most part, the pocket system in the short is pretty great. And then as a 3.5 pro with these shorts is I like that the drawstring is on the inside. You never really have security issues with this short's waistband and drawstring because it never really comes undone. For example, in the foundation short, they can come undone at times if you have rub on the front of the body, but the Interval short tends to do really well. But now let's talk about a few cons that I have with the Interval short because some of my pairs have not lasted as long, and I want to talk about some durability issues that you might run into with these shorts. So a couple of cons that I have with the Interval short, and do note I like the short, but there are some areas that I would definitely say keep an eye on if you do invest in these, especially because they are a little bit more expensive. But with this black Interval short here, this is the better than yesterday version, and I've had this short now for almost 2 years, and I am finally about to retire this short because the breakdown is just past the point in which I'm willing to tolerate. But 2 areas with this short that I find can be problematic at times, and for others who have commented on my other videos, is number 1 with the waistband. So with the no bunch waistband here, what I find can happen is that if you don't wash this short correctly, this waistband can kind of start to fold in, and it's very annoying because then you kind of have to finesse it with your fingers to get the lay flat. It's one of those things where I'm gosh, now I have to deal with this and get the drawstring to lay correctly. So the no bunch waistband can be problematic at times, and I'm also having the seam here split on my waistband. And so that's been annoying too because obviously with this split, you now lose on security, you start to feel this when you're training. And so waistband security and waistband durability can be very hit or miss in the Interval short. And if you want your waistband to last longer, just really focus on how you're cleaning the short because I have broken down waistbands fast due to cleaning them improperly. So when you clean your Interval short, put them in on cold, delicate, and a low tumble dry, and that will prevent the drawstring from getting messed up and just prevent that harsher climate of a washer and dryer traditional cycle from breaking down the materials in the short. I know it can be a little frustrating, but honestly, with most premium activewear, you generally want to be a lot more softer and more delicate with your washing processes just to get them to last longer. So waistband can be an issue at times in some of the shorts, and it's not always the case, but there are some instances of that happening. Another area that I've had some variable durability issues with is with the zipper pocket. And so I use my Interval short for running, and now this isn't necessarily a running short, But with the phone in this pocket, if you're doing any form of like fast intervals or sprints, if you have a bigger phone like myself, it can put a lot of stress into this pocket. So this zip has pretty much blown off from the lamination, so it's pretty much useless. The zipper is completely off the other side, and there's a hole here. So for what it's worth, obviously the zipper pocket is pretty much useless at this point, hence why I'm retiring this short very soon. But those are two things to keep an eye out for. Waistband, it really comes down to how you're cleaning your short, and then also the zipper pocket, it can break down faster if you're running and doing like sprints and plyometrics and you have your phone in your pocket. Now another con I have with the interval short is that the return process and customer service at 10,000, while it's gotten better, it isn't always the easiest to navigate. And a lot of the comments on my older 10,000 reviews have been about the customer service being a pain in the butt. So that said, I do know they have improved it over time as they've grown as a company, but I would suggest being really careful with your sizing before you order, just to avoid any form of customer service issues. I hate going back and forth with customer service even when it's good. So I would say be very conscious of your sizing and get that right before you invest, and make sure you're getting the right gear, obviously for the context of your needs, just so you don't have to potentially have a bad experience there. And again, I believe they have improved it over time, but I'd be remiss not to mention it, because obviously I don't want to recommend a short and then have you go to return it and then come at me because the customer service is bad. So I want to make that a point before you invest in this short. Customer service can be very hit or miss, and make sure you get the right size and the right type of product for your needs. Hey guys, just a quick note. If you plan to pick up any new 10,000 gear and you're a first time buyer, if you use the code below, it's gonna save you 20%. I am not getting paid for this video. I purchased these shorts and I wear them because I genuinely like them. So if you wanna support the channel and that fit friend, it does help if you use the code, use it or don't, but I figure if you're gonna buy 10,000 gear anyways, it does help, and it's like a win-win. It saves you money, it helps give me a little kickback so I can keep producing videos and reviews. But all that said, back to the video. All right, so now let's chat on the performance and how I like to wear the interval short. So I primarily wear the interval short for lifting, hypertrophy, and more athletic focused workouts. I'll also dabble with wearing them for shorter runs and daily wear here and there, depending on what I'm feeling and kind of what my day looks like. But in the context of lifting, there are 3 reasons why I like this short. Number 1, I like that I never have drawstring security issues in this short. So whether I am doing a CrossFit WOD, if I'm pulling heavy singles with the deadlift, whether I'm squatting higher volume sets, I never have issues with the drawstring coming undone, so that's a big perk for me. The second reason is the liner. The liner, I think, has a nice happy medium between feeling nice and compressed on the legs, but then also being loose enough to give you enough mobility to make sure it's not getting overly comfortable or riding up too much. For example, in some of my other shorts, like the Vuori Core short, my liner rides up often because it has that lighter brief, so I like the slightly heavier compression liner that you get in the interval short for lifting. The third reason why I like the short for lifting is the shell has a nice amount of stretch to it. So the 4-way stretch of this shell, I feel like does a pretty good job. And now that said, if you have crazy meaty glutes and thighs, this short might be a little bit too slim for you, so definitely keep an eye on that. But I think for most guys like myself who have athletic builds and what I would say is like not the biggest legs, but not the smallest legs, I'm kind of insecure about my leg size, but you know, some meat on your legs, this short should work really well regarding its overall volume. Now, when it comes to versatile training and short runs, the short can also work. It's light enough for those contexts, and it's wispy enough and breathable enough, I think, to remain relatively cool. With the foundation short, it's a little bit too heavy for those contexts. And the short, I like that it's not so running to where if I do have a workout where I'm lifting and then doing shorter interval runs, the interval short does excel for that. So if you're looking for that short in the gym that can be used for a little bit of everything, this model can be a decent pick. And then when it comes to daily wear, this isn't necessarily my favorite gym short to wear on a daily basis, but it does work. So that is a perk of this short as well, is that you can kind of use it as that versatile short to go run errands in and then go train in. And if you get like a simplistic colorways or even like the darker colorways, like the darker green and maroon and whatnot, they kind of look good with different outfits. So it really depends on what you're after. But all that said, I have constantly found the interval short to be a pretty dang well-rounded short across the board for how I train. Is it going to be the best short in any single vertical? Probably not, but I think for most guys like myself who like to vary what they do, the interval short has been a pretty solid bet thus far. All right, so now to the question, who should buy the 10,000 interval short? So I think if you're a guy that wants a short for a little bit of everything, the short can be a really good option. It's easy to wear, it's very seamless, and if you go with the lined version, which is my pro tip here, it's a much stronger short in the gym. If you don't go with the lined version, I find them to be pretty hit or miss, and I would rather wear something like the License to Train short with the linerless version from Lululemon if that's the route I'm going for. The second second context is if you're somebody that wants a short that has that medium compression to it. So you want a short with a liner that hugs everything really tight but doesn't necessarily ride up a ton or squeeze too much. This short can be a really good option. The third context is if you're somebody that likes a more breathable shell with your short. This can be a decent option to look into. The 4-way stretch of the shell and its overall weight does breathe pretty well, so even in hotter climates, I never find the interval short to be that hot. Now, who shouldn't buy this short? Number one, obviously if you're a budget shopper and you don't feel like spending on these shorts even with a discount, then obviously there are options you can go with on Amazon that'll give you a decent performance if you're recreational with your training. The second context is if you plan to do a lot of running in your shorts, find something more specific. This short may feel a little bit too heavy for your needs in that context, and with the zipper pocket kind of having issues with the phone storage and its durability over time, that would definitely be a concern that I have for you. The third context is if you do have tree trunk, thighs, and glutes, this short may not be the best option for you, and if you do invest in them, make sure you keep the tags on so you can return them, and you don't come back to this video yelling at me because the return process was bad because you ripped the tags off or they don't look like they're brand new. So definitely keep that in mind if you have very thick thighs and glutes. So when it comes to the sizing in the interval short, I wear a size medium and I wear the 7-inch lined version. It fits me like butter, and I think that's what brings me back to this short a lot, is just their seamless fit. I'm gonna have all of my dimensions over here on this side of the screen, but this has always been the size that I've gone with. When I buy new shorts, I literally just buy the same thing because I like how it fits and it's very consistent, but deepish pockets here so you can store your stuff. The liner itself, it doesn't ride up a ton, and once it kind of settles, once you go through that deep flexion and knee flexion, you're pretty much good right here. It never really goes super high, so I like that about the short as well. But if you have questions on sizing, definitely hit me. And then also use the sizing guide on 10,000's site. They built out a pretty cool feature since I bought my last shorts, so definitely check that out as well. And obviously, we had to go shirtless for this section because you can't be a fitness bro and not be shirtless in your shorts video. Come on now. Everybody knows that. It's the rules. If you're interested in the interval short or any of their gear, if you use the code below, you will save 20%, so definitely check that out. It's not a make or break. It hasn't made me be more positive in this review, but if you plan to buy something anyways, it does help the channel and it does support the brand, and it does support that fit friend, so I do appreciate that and I thank you for that. But all that said, if you have additional questions on the interval short and if they're right for you, or if you should go with a different short, hit me in the comments below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, y'all, drop a like on the video, drop subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.